look, just addressing first the idea of the secrecy of it all. One of the things that was really important to us was to be able to make today into something that was special and unique and wonderful. And knock wood, it came off of that hitch. There were some surprises that we wanted to keep as surprises, and so that's the way they are. Marvel gets asked all the time, what is it about you guys and your secrecy and all of that? And our answer really is, if you've ever told a story and then someone yells out the punchline before you get to the end of it, you go, oh, and I know we call them spoilers, but really that is not a compliment at the end of the day. Spoiled food is not something that you really want to drink. Or eat. Thank you for correcting me, sir. But getting back to, the idea is we're on ABC. So, ABC is really well known for some very cool shows like Lost, but by the same token, it has a very strong female demographic that may or may not be Marvel fans. And then on the other side of it, Marvel has a huge audience from the movies, and we'd love to be able to bring all of them in. And then, Mr. Whedon.
Well, the way I explain it is ABC tends to be more female than guys, and Marvel kind of the other way. And Joss is sort of the perfect Venn diagram of emotional storytelling against big, cool Marvel kind of world stuff, whether it was Angel or Buffy or the Avengers. And so he's kind of the sweet spot for Marvel on ABC. They want emotional stories. That's the kind of stories we're interested in telling. And so we can bring the big Marvel scope and the epic and the interesting and unusual world and characters from that, but tell emotional stories where it's Joss. So I suspect a puppy will die at some point.
But it'll be an evil puppy.
It will be an evil puppy.
Look, you take that chance with any television show whenever you come in, that you want the audience to become invested in the characters in a way that is wholly their own. We obviously have a very large legacy to live up to. We're well aware that there's, ads that have already been made that say, the saga that began in Marvel's The Avengers continues on television.
Without Tony Stark.
Or without 30 Iron Men in suits. And so, how do we do that? And also, let's say there are 4 people, who didn't go see The Avengers. How are they going to be able to grasp onto the show? And the idea is, it's a pretty simple concept, and that is, there's weird and unusual and unexpected things that are out there in the Marvel Universe / real world. Because the Marvel Universe is the real world. And this is a group of individuals who work for a good organization which is out there, and their intent is to be able to find out, is this item, person, phenomenon, add your own word, peanut butter, is it a threat? And if it is, what is the best way of dealing with that threat? Or is it a good thing, and does it need to be protected from an outside threat? And so, as you can probably tell, there's like 100 stories that you can come up with that have that sort of thing, that you don't necessarily have to know anything about the Marvel Universe. You just need to go, these are really 6 cool people that I want to hang out with.
And when we went into ABC initially, one of the requests was to make sure that the way we launch it is so that people who had not seen the Avengers could still find their way into the story. So the way it begins, we think, sort of sets up enough of that world that you understand it, and then you can just sort of jump in.
Speaking of characters that you want us to invest in, obviously Agent Coulson is a very big player.
He's our cookie.
So will fans learn quickly how he's actually able to be in the episode or in the show as a whole, or is that going to be something drawn out over the course of the season?
Did you see the pilot?
I've not seen the pilot.
There is a crumb in the pilot about...
It's a tasty crumb.
It's a tasty crumb. Okay. So that it's not just, we lied. I mean, we'll say this. Agent Coulson's story and the price that was paid and all the stuff in the Avengers wasn't a lie. And so to say that something didn't happen or we were all just pretending would do a disservice to the movie and to that whole Marvel Universe. So we've come up with what we think is a really intriguing story for Agent Coulson, and over time we will let people try and guess, and then we will reveal certain things about them.
And if you are, and if that's what you get out of the show, great. But we're sort of hoping that sometimes that's important to you and sometimes that's not important to you. What he's not is the island. That's the easiest way that I can explain it.
But wait a minute, let's think about that for a second. Go ahead.
Will the show continue to sort of intertwine with the Marvel movies? So, say if Christmas back here, could he then go on to appear in?
I think the safest thing to say is that it is all a shared universe, and I don't just mean that in the movies and the television division. It also means that publishing, animation, games, all of those things are shared things. So whether or not something comes from one place and goes to another, absolutely. Look, like I said, I wasn't kidding when I said he's the cookie. The biggest thing is that Agent Phil Coulson came from the movies. He was not something that was in publishing or games or animation. He then, for the last 2 years, has been living in Ultimate Spider-Man land, which is an animated series, without any explanation as to what happened to him or anything else like that. He's just there. But, it's cartoon, so people in cartoons have stuff happen to them. And, our hope is that this show deals with real people in a real world situation that feels very much like a Marvel movie or a Marvel comic or a Marvel whatever. That it is epic adventure on a very human level with humor.
I wanted to ask, looking at the rest of the cast, I'm the comic nerd at the table, so, these are all new characters in this show. In the original Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comic, it was an Irishman, an Italian. It was made in the 60s, but it was a kind of a multicultural cast of its day. As you guys were building these new characters, how important and central did that become to figuring out who these people were going to be in the show?
In terms of
the multicultural and diverse cast.
Huge. I mean, when we set out, we had casting offices in LA, New York, Toronto, Vancouver, London, Sydney, and pretty much every role open to all diversity.
And Cleveland. There's a huge possibility.
And so all roles are open to all diversity. And so we ended up with Ming and with Chloe, who happened to be from a. They're both, actually, Chloe is.
I think
we're going to play a joke on the show, and so, but people will know. Yes.
Thank you very much.
So wrapping it. But so it is important in terms of the whole world and who we cast in the whole show. But they have to be funny and smart and do all the things we do, and so it'll be great. But it'll be a very interesting, diverse world.